Welcome back, guys. And I know it's been a little bit since we got a video up. It seemed that our last video, for whatever reason, got cut short, so I'm sorry about that. I'm not sure what had happened there. To give you a little bit of an insight why we've been gone for the last couple weeks, here's why. Everybody, meet Tucker. This is my new puppy. He is a 100% a purebred American Bully. He is a large in his breed. I've had him now just shy of a month, and he has come with me every day to the shop. Yes, it is like having a child, so as you can imagine, I'm already busy, and then along with having him in that first couple weeks, definitely made it tough to do any videos. But we have some decent weather today. Drove the R8. Tucker, let's go for a walk real quick. So here we are, like I said, just shy of a month in of having Tucker as my new puppy, and he is pretty much 100% potty trained now. Once he goes to the door, here, that's his sign to let me know he's got to go out and go potty. Definitely been one of the best dogs I've had ever. He is a great companion, and that's what I was looking for. Today's video is going to be wrapping up where we left off in the other one that had got cut short, so I'm just going to throw that last clip in here and the rest of that video, so it might be a little lengthy for you guys, and then it'll jump into disassembly on the Mugen and getting ready to get the bay painted. Just a sneak peek. This is a little bit later in the time frame, but there's a lot that you're going to see come up. Now that we got the car up in the air, I'm going to go over all the more in particular things of what is involved to get these 8th and 9th gens to be all-wheel drive. It definitely was a bit of a process. If you do not have a fabricator or a fabricating shop, or have the understanding how to do fabricating, I'm watching a shock right now just released. If you do not have a shop around you that is capable of doing it, or you're not able to do it yourself, then it may not be a project that is for you, because it is laborsome in fabrication to be able to get this done. If you have the understanding how to do it, it is pretty straightforward, but I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about. So here we are underneath the car, this being the front of the car. We obviously have this subframe assembly here. Now I have more in-depth shots of this, which you'll see at a later date, and you'll see in our prior videos, but we did have to build a special mount for our power steering in here, which this is a 2008 Civic DX rack, and we built a custom mount for it to space the rack up 4 inches. Now what that does is it gives us room obviously for our drive shaft and our T-case, the biggest thing being the T-case right there. And then we did have to notch this T-case, box it back in to make sure everything stays safe and this stays structural. Like I said, when I get this thing apart, I'll be able to show you some more. We are going to add one more leg to the mount here for the steering rack, because there's been concern about the rack moving with the mount that's on it, so we're going to put another leg on it to give it more structure. I will show you guys when I get that apart, but the things that are involved with this is this subframe here does need to be notched and clearance for the T-case. You do need to space the rack up 4 inches. Now there has been some people that have done the electronic rack route. They've cut this whole area out here. I prefer not to do that, because this is the main structure of the car over here and holding the front end of the car together. Obviously the main structure for your power steering. I would prefer this to be complete and boxed in as we did it here. Now, one thing I had mentioned before, there's going to be different ways to do this, as with anything in life, so take it how you want. You know, if you want to do it to your way, if you want to cut this all the way out, go ahead and do that. That's up to you. Like I said, for me, I just felt more comfortable leaving this complete here and boxing it in. As you can see, it definitely is what I believe is the right way to do it. So that's what we had to do there. And then moving over to the drive shaft, you'll see that comes in. This is not mounted right now. I actually changed this because I had the right upgraded 1310 flange, which is right here. You'll see a Wago Van viscous, Wago Van drive shaft, and you'll see the end of it here has been modified. This has a 1310, and this has a piece that directly bolts to your CRV transmission. So that I need to order, because I ended up switching that drive shaft out for another one. This one that's in here right now is actually an uncut Wago Van, so nothing's been modified. That one had to be shortened about 3 inches for my all-wheel drive EK you see in the background. So the reason for switching from that drive shaft to this one, being an untouched, uncut Wago Van one, was because this actually fits in here without any modification. So from an 88 to 91 Wago van, OEM drive shaft, OEM viscous, mounted up to the T-case up there, and back here, there is no modification needed for your 8th gen chassis. It is the perfect length for the car, which blows my mind that that's even a reality. So it is very cool. With that though, I do need to change this flange so that it can bolt up to the T-case, because the Wago van one does not. They do make some spacers. If you really didn't want to upgrade the joints, you could just buy the spacer from Speed Factory that adapts it, and you can bolt it right up. Moving back, I have the S1 mounts and S1 carrier bearings, S1 mounts here for the chassis. And that leads me to the next steps of this build. I do want to give S1 a big shout out. They came on as a sponsor and were willing to work with me on this project. Some of the parts that they have here that you're seeing are not fully released at the time, and they were going through some of that, which now with us getting parts and showing them, you know, what fits and what needs to be modified, they're releasing those parts and you guys will begin getting them. So big shout out to S1. As you'll see here, I have their all-wheel drive kit for the 8th gen, which is now available on their website. If you look down in the description, what that involves is you get a nice, beautiful mounting plate for your rear diff, whether it be Wago van or CRV. It comes with casted hubs, which I really do like the fact that these are a one-piece, stronger version of the OEM cast. They are thicker actually down on the joints down here. It definitely makes it really nice. I'm gonna try to get my light out here for you guys. Really nice for that. I like that they were one piece casted. And then it comes with the mount, which you'll see up there, that you will have to weld in. Now, one thing you're gonna see and stands out on my car is the spacers right here. So I did space the rear diff down 2 inches, and you'll see we modified the S1 mount, lowered the differential 2 inches. Now, the reason for that was gonna be for a couple things. Axle angle over to the control arm, drive shaft angle being the biggest one of them. These cars have a tunnel that tapers down. So as you'll see here, up here we have a nice big tunnel, and then as we come down, our tunnel goes away. So if we were to have left this up the 2 inches, this on the tunnel would 100% have to be cut out and remade and modified, whereas lowering the differential 2 inches not only gave me more room by this camber arm over here, as you can see right here, gave me more room there, but it gave me the room that we needed for the drive shaft to be able to fit. Now keep in mind, we did have to love tap. By love tap, I mean grab a large hammer and clearance it, but as you can tell, I hope the light's picking it up, it's not very much. I mean, it's very minimal, and I did not want to take the whole interior out of this car and cut that tunnel out and go through that and then not have the carpet sit right in the inside. I just didn't want to go that route, so I chose to lower the rear diff. That is on you if you do want to do that or not. But what you'll see back here, this does have an S1 drive shaft. Again, my all-wheel drive EK in the background. I had already made this all-wheel drive. I had the S1 kit in here and drive shaft kit, so I already have this. So this is just right off their website, bolts right in, guys, and beautiful drive shaft piece they offer. We have their rear axles here as well. Those are a direct bolt in, so that came out really good. Now the next step here, moving down, would be exhaust. I wanted to keep this a full street car, as I already mentioned. So with that being said, I wanted to retain full exhaust on this thing. Now I know it's easier. You could have went out the fender, could have went out the hood. Definitely would have made space restraints better, but I want to drive it and I want to have full exhaust. That was a chore, let me tell you, because we have a 3-inch downpipe that comes through. Everything is really tight to show you. Comes down, goes underneath, and then right here I have a piece of oval pipe. Now with this oval pipe here, you can really tell it doesn't hang down much more. If anything, it's actually higher than what the factory exhaust was on this car. The factory exhaust actually hung down quite a bit. Where my viscous is right now, here, this is where the factory exhaust hung down on this car before. And with that being said, the only thing really hanging lower underneath the car is the space of this mount right here, because we did have to lower the viscous to be able to get a better drive shaft angle and to get the drive shaft to clear. So we did add a spacer here, And then having this mount here, this is the only thing hanging underneath the car, and that's about 1.25 inches if I remember right. So barely anything. I don't plan on lowering this car or slamming it, so not a big deal for me. I do maybe come down maybe 1 inch, which I'll show you guys at a later time, the ground clearance on the car. I'm really happy of how this oval exhaust came out underneath the car. And you take a side profile, I know the lift is kind of blocking it. It really is tucked up nice. We have these really nice mounts on here, 2 bushings, so they are rubber bushings. I found that one out at a earlier date when I had my all-wheel drive EM1, a black one with a B series setup, and I didn't put the bushings in there. You could hear it through the car. So as you would expect with the rubber bushings, hopefully those will keep us nice and quiet. We have one mount there, another mount there, another mount here, and then coming back there'll be an exhaust hanger here, really nice high quality exhaust hanger from the guys over at Strayed Fab. Now some of you may ask what this is here. This is a boost controlled, obviously 60 mil wastegate. I like to do 60 mil wastegate cutouts on the exhaust. The reason for that being is so that we can get less back pressure, more flow when you start to make higher horsepower and push them. This car does still retain the factory Mugen muffler on it right here. And I know some are gonna kind of yell at me about this because you'll see Mugen. I did cut the muffler, and I know I shouldn't have cut it because it's a Mugen part and these things are getting harder to find. I cut the muffler. It's my car, I chose it. I wanted to look the part of having the Mugen muffler on it and being stock exhaust, which you'll see there at the tip. Nice, centered, the way it should be, factory muffler. Now, when I say we modified it, it wasn't crazy. We had to cut off the back. These things are already a pretty large inlet there. I believe it was 2.25. We stepped it up to 2.5, and then we stepped it up from there to 3 inch. Now, obviously the clearance here gets real tight, and we were trying to keep it slim there because we do have an axle that does move right here. So that is why you see it kind of do a transition, and before the transition is the dump valve. So that way we can cruise around, have this thing nice and quiet, and then as soon as we hit whatever target boost I'm gonna put in there, I'll probably put, I don't know, 12-pound spring in there. You would be surprised because you're not hitting 12 pounds going everywhere, right? You do have a smaller turbo, then you don't want to make it annoying. You want to have enough pressure in there that it doesn't just open up when you're driving. So probably put like a 12 to 15 pound spring in there. I do have a bun in the turbo housing for back pressure that we can monitor in the Motec, and I can see, you know, if back pressure is rising or at a level where I don't feel comfortable, we may have to add an additional one on there. We'll kind of play it by ear. I've seen some other Mugens out there make high 400s with the factory Mugen exhaust. Now keep in mind, obviously we already have the dumps come down for the 60 mil, and then we also have that, so we should be fine. We'll see my power goals of the car, if I overlook that with you guys. Still the 600 to 700 region. It is definitely capable and has everything to max out that precision 64 66, which turbo's now rated for 1,000 horsepower. I don't think the 64 66 on this K24 is going to make 1,000. I'm going to say, you know, 900 would be where it would tap out. We have everything to do it. May it go there? Probably going to press up on the dyno a few times, but my real goal for the car is 600 to 700 wheel. Enjoy the car, drive it, put miles on it, and really share with you guys what this all-wheel drive can do. So that is the quick, not quick, but that's the full rundown of the all-wheel drive. I know this video is going to be a lot of talking. I am sorry, guys. I just wanted to go through and show you 100% with this all together, what it all looks like, what is involved, go into the nitty-gritty about the fabrication and what's needed. A lot of you that are watching this probably are wondering, you know, if you have an A for nitrogen, what it's involved to do all-wheel drive. And it's not bad, but it is fabrication related. And one thing I did forget to tell you, on these S1 hubs, you will need to relocate the shock mount. I let them know about that. The axle actually was interfering with the shock, the factory shock mount right there. They knew about that. They said they had posted about it. I must have missed it, but we had the fabrication team move our factory shock mount over. Can't even tell they did. Gives us plenty of room for the axle. it's just little things like that. That's what I'm talking about. For fabrication side of things, you know, it is one of the things that's the biggest part of this job is fabrication. If you're at home DIYer, know how to weld, you absolutely could do this. You could do your own setup and do what you want. I just wanted to show what it takes to do this. Last step, as you'll notice, there is no more gas tank, so let's put this thing back down and show you what we got for a gas tank. Now, when it comes to gas tanks, there are several different options that you can do in these cars, or anything all-wheel drive, to be honest with you. It's going to come down solely to opinion and what you want to do. Some people will complain, you know, if you put it in the back of the car about trunk space. Some will complain about having it underneath the car because it is by your drive shaft and your axles. I went the route of having 2 FCS fuel cells underneath my all-wheel drive EK before, and I never felt right about driving it on the street because the drive shaft was right there, and yes, we had a drive shaft hoop on it, but we had 2 axles, obviously left and right behind the fuel cells, and there's no real way to put an axle hoop shaft there that you would feel protected or safe with doing rips on the street. And what if you break an axle and then your axle hits your fuel tank? Bad things can happen. So I decided this time to give up some of my trunk space. When I say some, most of my trunk space, and I went with what I feel is a proper fuel cell that I know is safe, and I know it is going to be efficient for what we're going to do, and more than capable of our power goals. So here we have it, guys. I picked a Radium spare tire fuel cell. Those of you that do know Radium know that they make phenomenal products, like top tier. If you're looking at fuel system, they make some of the best products. And I got to give a shout out to Strayed Fabrication because they made a beautiful mount for this. I know it may look like it's just sitting on top of the factory cargo here, but actually underneath of this cargo mat is a full sheet of aluminum that is, I'm not a fabricator, I forget what it's called. It has lines creased into it to make it stronger. I know someone's going to roast me for that. I just can't think of what it's called right now, but it is a very nice piece of aluminum in here mounted. This is mounted as safe as possible, not directly at the back of the car. This car does still have its crash beams on it. So, God forbid something does happen and we do get in a rear end collision, we at least have some room for in case something was to happen. Being a Radium fuel cell, that does mean it is have all the foam in there to keep all the fuel from sloshing away from your pickup. Has a really nice fuel pickup here, which we'll go into a later time. But I want to show you guys, this is 10.5 gallons, which is pretty comparable to what was in the car, and you still have quite a bit of trunk room. I mean, if you really do want to use this stuff, you do have quite a bit of trunk room. The other thing is the fill. Now, I could run a fill from this over to the side of the car over here and do it that way. I was leaning towards that. Being the older chassis have a lot more support, guys, than obviously these 8th gens do. These kind of get lacked on in the support department. They don't have a piece, and when I say a piece, I don't have one in front of me here, but behind the fuel door on the EKs, you can buy a piece that bolts in and then switches it over to AN line, and then you could run a hose over to your fuel cell that's in the trunk, have it be a factory fill. I could absolutely make something work, have the fabricators make something work, but I'd made the decision of getting the piece from Radium that will put the fill neck right over here. Be nice and easy. Obviously, I do have to open the trunk, hopefully not spill, and I know that's kind of a downside for some people. It'll have a proper vent. I'll make sure to have a towel back here to make sure I can grab the end of the hose and pull it out and not spill fuel in there. I just don't want to cut a hole through the quarter on the inside to be able to get the hose over there. I've kept the cutting to a minimum on this chassis in this car. Now, there obviously is some things that you have to do to make it all-wheel drive and some sacrifices. I know it is a rare car. I wanted to make it my own anyways. We've already committed. Could I do it? Yes, I could. I just chose not to. What instead I'm going to do is I'm going to have the battery mounted underneath the car, and I'm going to put 2 charging terminals right here behind the gas door. Make it nice to be able to get to that, or if I ever have to jump the car. So I'm going to do that instead of putting the battery back here in the trunk. You could obviously do that too. I'm just going to choose to put a nice battery mount underneath the car with a safe battery, put terminals over there, leave the fill in the trunk, and leave it to that. But we still have a decent amount of truck space. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I know it was a lot of talking on this video. There's going to be more eventful videos coming up for this car, which I am recording in the background today on. So you'll be seeing that, where I am going to be taking this car all the way apart, because obviously this is not going to be the engine we're going to run in here, and the transmission, I do have some plans for upgrades, which you guys will be seeing in the next video. And I got to get everything apart, so we got to get these brake lines out so we can do the ABS delete. I want to clean up this engine bay, go through it. Honda really did not do a good job at painting these bays. Once you take the battery tray off, you can see there the outline of it. And over here, I'm going to pull this mount off, try to get some more room for a catch can that you'll see later on. To end out this video though, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully this is really informative. Please look back at our other videos that do show more of the process of doing this. It was really tough trying to record with Fabrication, working on this because it is in their environment. They're not huge on cameras and being used to them, so I was trying to just let them do their work, not go over there and push them and get too involved while they're working on it. So big shout out to Strayed Fabrication, Chris and Craig over there for being as open as they were to have me come over and record and show you guys. It is now back in our hands, and I do plan on getting on this thing right away. I would love to see this thing hopefully running and driving by the first of the year. That's going to be my goal. I don't know if I'll be able to make it. There's always little odds and ends that you got to get, but I think I have everything for the most part for this car. And like I said, to end this out, that's going to wrap it up, boys. I'm gonna tease you. I was going to tell you more about the motor, but you're going to have to wait till the next video. Please go ahead and drop down what you think down below. And you have an 8th and 9th gen. Hopefully this helps you out and you guys are enjoying the process. Take it easy, guys. I hope you have a great Christmas. We're right around the corner there, and I can't wait to show you guys the thing running soon.
Hey, living life up in the fast lane. And I ain't slowing down, I ain't slowing down, I ain't slowing down. Living life up in the fast lane. Pedal to the ground, pedal to the ground, pedal to the ground. Living life up in the fast lane. Life, though you limits, you just put them in Coronas, Coronas, Coronas. I've been working, I need that advance with the bonus, the bonus, the bonus. Ain't no thoughts about tomorrow, I'm just living in the moment, the moment, the moment. Full tank of gas and 200 on the dash, bitch, I'm zoning, I'm zoning, I'm zoning. Fast lane, living life up in the fast lane. Hey. Living life up in the fast lane. And I ain't slowing down, I ain't slowing down, I ain't slowing down. Living life up in the fast lane. Pedal to the ground, pedal to the ground, pedal to the ground.